You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby. I'm in my zone. I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes, episode 153 episodes of MinneZona Sports Live. And without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Granite City Studios in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Paul Voldy, Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
You know, it's only Wednesday here this week, but since we last had the show, and now up to this point as well, it has been a very wild week in time. That's especially this week. The start of this week is a little. Everybody that's wanted and ordered stuff, our winners from episode 150, finally got their stuff in the mail. I literally had to maybe speed a little bit from enjoying dinner and to get back here to get the show all set up and ready to go. And of course, with mail being sent out even after the federal holiday, a little bit of a special mail call that also came in to start off the week as well.
Hey!
That's right. That's an authentic nameplate right there. Troy Stoudemire when he was on the Vikings right there. That came in the mail courtesy of Jimbo, just mentioning something, and then lo and behold, buys it off eBay or whatever his card trading buddies do, or wherever they buy their stuff. So we got a little something, and see if maybe Troy would like to sign that or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We got to get a hold of him too.
We will, and you know, I love it, to be honest with you. And this is the daily, well, not daily, I'll say each show, Minnesota Vikings, make the call. That's all I got to say.
Exactly.
He is in shape. He is ready to go. If you haven't seen his Instagram, you should now, because I still think he's got it, man. It's that simple. But
can't lose it.
Can't lose it. They really can't. So I'm happy that we have that for them. And then, Voldy, you mentioned that we've, got some merch. But if you guys didn't know, but now you do know, we have new stickers that came in as well. So not only are they just, the regular MinneZona stickers that were restocked, but there are some new ones in there. And one of them being this thing.
And it's time for Shield Shoutouts.
Ka-shing, ka-shing. Boom! There it is for you. If you want to take a look, we've got a couple options for you for Shield Shoutouts. And we got a plethora of them, I will say. Yep. So thank you again to Tyler Knudsen, Crown Rental, for the stickers. And also, the deal. $2 for small ones, $3 for the big ones. It's a great deal, honestly. I don't think you can find a better deal on any other show, honestly. So we got them for you if you want them. Make sure you can talk to me or talk to Voldy, and we'll get them to you. So
I will say, sending out stuff to all our great followers and listeners. Got a few interesting looks at the post office. Sending out stuff to Minnesota, obviously down in the Twin Cities, Arizona, Montana. Even I think I sent something to California not too long ago as well. All over the place. But that is how far we are reaching with this platform as well, with MinneZona Sports Live. Shout out to Jared Jensen. He got his shirt, sent me a picture as well that he got it, so shout out to him. Jeremy Richardson as well, of Yellowstone fame. He should have gotten his hat in the mail recently. Tyler Knudsen as well hooked us up with his stickers. Should have gotten his hat as well, too. So, yeah, and Cole Angelo, South Dakota, out in Sioux Falls. Yeah, pickleball aficionado.
Great cash, homie.
He got his sticker, his bumper sticker. At least it said it arrived in the mail. Didn't get confirmation as well. But, yeah, all the other stickers, of course, we got plenty available. Let us know.
He's probably working on his Ron Burgundy impression like he always does. So, very good at it, I will say. But I'm glad that all of our zoners got their merch. And, again, we got the stickers. You guys want some? We'll give them to you. I mean, we've got so many great stickers now. We don't even know what to do with them anymore. I mean, we should just post it anywhere and everywhere. So, anywho, like Voldy's got with the Shield Shoutouts, got going there. We've got some things to talk about. There's the NBA draft coming up, and there's been some talk that the Wolves might move into the first round. So we're going to talk about that. Then right after that, we're talking about these Minnesota Twins. We have to address it again, but they are leading the division, but they're playing terribly, and they're down 1-0 right now. I'm literally looking at Bally Sports North. Maybe Zappa's working this game, maybe not. We have yet to confirm, but we got that. And then Voldy's Virtues is back this week. Voldy's going to be talking about something that, if you win a championship, you should have parades and things like that. He'll go more in depth on that with Voldy's Virtues. ARA, we've got some really good ARAs this week as well. A little dalvincook, a little NBA talk. We got it all covered for you. And then also, Shield Shoutouts. As always, we got a lot of good shoutouts this week. So, Voldy, I say we get it going with some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Well, right as I say, it was 1-0. Now it is 1-1. Max Kepler, Caitlin Toner's hubby / I don't know, whatever he is now, just drove in a run.
There we go.
For Buxton, got the score. And then, what's interesting, Voldy? I'm glad they brought this up as I'm looking at this right now. Royce Lewis is batting .311 right now. That's better than a lot of what the Twins are batting, right? I mean,
wow.
Just saying. But we'll get back to that in a second. Let's talk about these Wolves. We talked a little bit about Cat last week, and now we're going to kind of move on from that. We're going to kind of move into this upcoming draft, and there's been some reports that the Wolves are looking to trade up in the NBA draft this year. They currently do own the 53rd pick in the second round. They're looking to move up after, the season that we were hoping or expected big things. And unfortunately, we didn't get what we wanted in that, but at the same time, it's good to hear that the Wolves are considering moving up in the draft here because they desperately do need to add some young talent to this team, especially with Cat, if they decide on keeping Cat, and with a Gobert, and then also with Anthony Edwards. So I asked this of the zoners, and I asked this of you, Voldy, with this Wolves squad. I don't know how realistic it is for them to get up into, let's just say, the top 10 even. The only way that I feel like they could get into that top 10 if they are dangling Karl Anthony Towns. Yep. Like we talked about last week, if they try to make a deal with Portland, and it sounds like Portland's not going to be trading Damian Lillard, so you have that factored in. But if they're not, maybe you give them Cat, and then you move up to that third pick, and then they take Scoot Henderson. There's a lot of things that could happen here. But, as Easy's saying right here, the Wolves need a Hail Mary to get these picks. Would you agree with Easy A there, Voldy? Do the Wolves need a Hail Mary to move up and get a first-round pick up there? What do you think?
They need the entire rosary to get up to the top pick or top three for sure. Not just a Hail Mary, not just the Our Father. They need the whole rosary. They need the church. They need they need the Pope. They need all the Vatican to get into that first round. They really went all in, and they pushed in all their chips by getting Rudy Gobert, and they gave up all those first round picks. So you're sitting at number 53. Congrats. You're going to get to the 53rd best player that you think is going to be in the draft. And well, that guy's probably not going to be around very long, because last time I checked, it's usually the top 5 picks that usually kind of have some sort of longevity in the league, or at least carve something out. And we've been kind of dancing around it. The only way that, you do get one of those top first round picks, you're definitely going to have to, if you want a top 5 pick, you're going to have to put Cat and maybe even McLaughlin out there as well, as much as I hate to say it too, because you're definitely going to have to put out something quite significant out there for any team to consider a top 5 pick. If you want a first round, obviously you're going to have to put Cat out there, because you're going to get a top franchise player for another top franchise player as well. And it just, it's going to be a very uphill battle for that to happen. But I mean, you're going to have to dangle out some very interesting trade bait for anyone to consider that first round. I mean, we're talking about the trade. I know, especially with our chat that we had with Zappa, especially about Portland as well. I know that Dame is not wanting to be traded. Do you want something to happen in Portland? And if they get a big guy, that's certainly going to help them too. And you get a guy like Cat on that squad, that's going to be very helpful for Dame as well, because he's not going to have to put up, 40, 50 points a game. He could still do that for you, but obviously another 25, 30 points and maybe another 10, 15 rebounds a game for another guy of Cat's caliber when fully healthy is going to at least make some noise, especially in a very loaded Western Conference too. But until that happens, the Timberwolves are on the outside looking in and watching 52 other really good players go off that draft board right there.
Yep, and just want to give you guys an update. The Twins now up 2-1, and a nice single from Vasquez there. But Royce Lewis, I think, is doing just fine after that those ACLs and whatnot. He just went from first all the way to home, and that was pretty impressive. So he's looking pretty fast right now. So that's pretty cool. Seymour says, I heard some guy named Walker Kessler's doing well replacing Rudy Gobert in Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talked with Zappa, I feel like he says it very well could be the worst trade that the Wolves have ever made.
Yep.
But the fact that they drafted Kessler and then ultimately gave him up, I feel like the Jazz completely robbed the Wolves in that perspective. So, yes, Seymour, he's doing quite well. Random question. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we got we like random questions. How long until Zion Williamson is in the Hall of Shame?
Ooh.
This is it's heating up. Let's just say.
The guy has been so irrelevant that we haven't even added him because of the fact that it's just like, can he be in the Hall of Shame if he hasn't done it the way of Albert?
He's got to make the list first.
He's got to make the list first. Exactly.
I mean, I think that's the main thing. And Seymour, I'm curious as to where you would put Zion on the list currently right now. I mean, it's still a lot happening with that. But if things start trending in the wrong direction for Zion Williamson, and this is not only with his basketball career, but outside of the basketball career, it seems like there's some women that have threatened and or said, Zion, I don't know. Seymour says from 7 to 10.
Ooh,
so I'd say so. Yeah, I think that's good. I like that. So,
and this is a UNC fan, and Seymour hating on a Duke guy in Zion as well. But there is some validity to his his claim.
He does have validity, but the one thing I feel like is obviously when he's on the floor, he's awesome. But the thing is, he's got to stay on the floor, right? So there's a lot going on with Zion in that perspective, and don't even mention if the Wolves are even interested in.
Another topic for conversation is Zion Williamson a bust?
Yeah, it's starting to move up because it's almost reminiscent, and we do love this guy, but it's almost reminiscent to D Rose injury wise, not the whole off the court stuff, but injury wise, it very well could be.
Saw a random guy wearing a D Rose T-Wolves jersey today as well. Just random fact as well. Crazy how we brought that up today. So
I love it. And we love D Rose here, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, he had those injuries. But anyway, with that being said, with the Wolves, Voldy couldn't agree more. They do need a Hail Mary. But I will say, though, is that sometimes you find those diamonds in the rough. And the one thing that I'll say about some of these second rounders, I mean, Nikola Jokic, second rounder, Jimmy I think Jimmy Buckets was second round or very early second round, maybe late first round.
Late first rounder.
I think maybe it was late first round, but there's a lot of guys that can come out of that second round and be very good. But then again, with the Wolves' history and whatnot, like remember Glenn Robinson III? And everyone thought that guy was going to be a steal, but apparently not. So we got that. Zion can't stay on the floor. John Morant having troubles off the floor. Yeah, it's pretty much. And, I feel like that whole Ja thing, we'll go over that another time. But if they're going to make that move, like you said, Voldy, they have to dangle Cat into it. But I feel like if they do end up holding on to Cat and they're able to get in, let's just say the top 15, top 20 or whatever it is, then I feel like that's okay. You can add that as
you're going to have to sell the bench again is the thing, like you did with Gobert. You're going to have to sell the farm.
You probably might have to, but
you're going to have to throw out like you're going to throw out like Nas Reed and McLaughlin, those guys. I mean,
I want to keep Nas. That's the thing.
Exactly, but that's the thing. If you want to get a top 15 pick, I mean, you're gonna have to put up some very promising prospects, younger guys that are gonna have to make an impact for the next franchise.
One thing I want to add to this, though, Voldy, is that I'm fine with them giving up J-Mac. I feel like that experiment has kind of fizzled out here, and if they have to give him up, fine. But that's probably what might have to happen, so we'll see. But if the Wolves make that trade, we'll see. All right, let's move on to these Twins here. Obviously they're up 2-1 right now. Sonny Gray pitching today. This, obviously, I think we can all agree, and the people in the chat, people sending us texts and things like that, this is the worst division in baseball, and it's not even close. The Minnesota Twins, yes, they are still leading the AL Central, but now the Red Sox just tied it up. Absolute shot. Justin Turner destroyed that one. So now it's tied. So we got that going on.
Yes, sir.
So as we look at this division, it's full of teams, and I guess Cleveland's one game back behind the Twins now, even though the Twins are still winning. The Twins are on a 3-game losing streak, obviously, with Boston being in town and whatnot, and hopefully this won't be the case come come after the break. But it's sad to see when you're it's great you're winning the division, but you have a record of 36-38.
Yeah.
Buxton's been struggling. You got guys like Kepler that, there's fans that are clamoring for him to be traded at the deadline. There's people that, that think their pitching's just not doing well, and this and that, but they're still winning the division. That's the sad part about it. Yep. Voldy, what are your thoughts on these Twins? And what can they do to just at least improve here? What do you got?
I just want to talk about the overall narrative. I know that we talked about this at the start of the season as well, when we were like 30, 40 games into the season as well. Look, you can't help the fact that one division, the AL East, their worst team, is still better than the division leader in the AL Central. Boston's in the cellar, 39-35. All 5 teams in the AL East are above 500, while all teams in the AL Central are below 500. Look, you can't help the fact that that is a thing. Like, that is just how it plays out. Do we get on do we get on other sports when, the worst division in football? We agree that's the AFC South. If I had to throw one out there, that's probably the one that comes most recently to mind. Shout out to Seymour's Tennessee Titans as well on that, and Ben Engelstad's Jacksonville Jaguars. There's a throwback name for you as well, way back in the day. Yeah. But look, you just can't help the fact that one division, primarily a team that gets a lot of media coverage and is in bigger markets, is better. Scheduling in the front half of the season hasn't been very kind for the Twins as well, but they're still 36-38. Yes, they're one game ahead in the division lead, and they're the only team in the Central that has a positive run differential. They're 22 runs in favor compared to the next closest, which is Cleveland, who's in second place, and they're 21 runs below. They've given up 21 more runs than they've scored as well. While even Boston, they're in the bottom of the division, and yet they still have the third best run differential in the AL East, while Tampa Bay is blowing teams out of the water at plus 146. You've got Baltimore at plus 35, then Boston, who's in the bottom of the division, at plus 30, and the Blue Jays are just barely hanging on. They're at plus 9 run differential, and they're still they're a game ahead of the Red Sox in the division, even with a couple of games in hand. I don't know really how to get better. I think just getting healthy is kind of the big thing. Yeah. I know we've got some guys that went to the IL. Jorge Lopez is dealing with some stuff off the field, mental health concerns for him as well. Guys just getting healthy. This is a long season. Look, right now we're about 70, 75 games in, so you got a good, 80-plus games left in this season. I think just sad thing is you got to play through a lot of stuff. I know that the lineup continues to juggle a little bit. How long will the Max Kepler experience in Minnesota be before he becomes trade bait as well, or gets moved so that we can have Trevor Larnach and Kyle Garlick in the lineup and on the team a lot more consistently? What are we going to do with the middle infield as well? I know Carlos Correa is not going to play shortstop every single day. What do you do with Royce Lewis? What do you do with Kyle Farmer as well, the second base, third base combination as well? First base continues to be a bit of a question mark overall. You got a revolving door just about at every position, even with catching as well. I know that Vasquez has been kind of a consistent guy. What does that do for Ryan Jeffers as well? I mean, there's just more question marks than answers with this Twins team, but at the same time, I mean, they're 2 games under 500, but still leading the Central. You can't help the fact that at the end of the day, which team leads the division is going to the playoffs, and that team's below 500. That just so happens to be it, even with the fact, I mean, even in the COVID year, when the Houston Astros won their division, they were below 500 and still made the playoffs and had a pretty decent run too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't help that one team is just I would say the shiniest turd in the toilet, and that just so happens to be the Twins right now.
Well, there you go. One other thing I want to add to it is that, they just hit a ground rule double. Or was it a home run? Do we know? Did Julian
Edward?
hit a home run? I think Or maybe it is. Replay says. I think that's a home run. I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting really sick of trying to reason with the management of the Minnesota Twins. I've kept saying this. Seymour literally is reading my mind because this is exactly where I'm going with this. Why does Baldelli always pull Sonny Gray way early?
True.
It's because of that stupid sabermetrics and analytics.
Hate that.
But I'm not going to go into that specifically. I want to go into what Rocco Baldelli has done with this, with these struggles and everything like that. This is his quote from the game last night. We're expecting more of ourselves. We're expecting to play our best baseball when we have all our guys healthy and all our guys on the field ready to go. So that's been probably the frustrating part of the ordeal, having to look up and go, shoot, we have our guys out there. It's time to play good. It's time to play good. That kind of irked me because it's the same monotone crap that we hear from Rocco Baldelli. And I've said this ever since maybe 2 seasons ago, whenever it was. I think it's time for new management for the Minnesota Twins. And it's the same BS he brings up. They never do anything to try and rectify the situation. It's always like, oh, we need to have a team meeting. I was just watching on the 6 o'clock news he was talking to WCCO, and he's basically sitting there like, I could, pull a team meeting, and if it comes time for that to do so, then the time's now. I mean, the time has been now and has been, way back when too. This is ridiculous. You have literally done nothing to try and get these guys to play better. You just expect, well, they're out on the field and they'll get there and everything like that. When? Because I'm watching this team right now and these past 2 games, and they've been outmatched. Absolutely outmatched. And the fact that he always, every press conference, says, well, we just got to play. Where's the fire? What are you going to do? Because clearly we're not seeing it. And for the love of God, do something. Do something about it. And you sit there and you sit there in those interviews and you don't do anything. You don't do a damn thing. And that's what pisses me off the most with Rocco Baldelli. And I agree with Seymour. Why do they pull guys? Because of that stupid sabermetrics and analytics. And the fact of the matter is, and I'm going to say it again, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And that's the reason why they struggle so much with this. Yep. And it drives me nuts. And I'm sick and tired of seeing this BS happen. And he just sits there and just is like, well, we just got to play better. Then do it. Good Lord. All right. At least we're done with the days of the shift where it was you either hit a home run or strike out. Very true. The AL Central is so bad the Royals are only 16 games back. Exactly.
So you're saying there's still a chance.
They're saying there's still a chance. Well, it does work. You just can't be 100% in on it. Right. I don't know. It's ridiculous to me. But this is what we have to deal with this team. And the fact that they're sitting the way they are. The one thing that I'll add here, Voldy and Zoners. Carlos Correa has been playing much better. And I feel like he's been, kind of that one guy that you're like, okay, we're starting to rely on him more. He's starting to understand, hey, he's going to start figuring it out. And it's that's the nice thing about it. The pitching has been, it's been okay, but could be better. Could always be better. So, Correa just grounded out. Julian came in and scored, so the Twins are up 3-2. So, hey, maybe they listened to me. Who knows? But we shall see what happens as we move on here. So, Voldy, I can't wait for this Virtues, man. I'm really looking forward to this. There's a lot to be said with the parades and everything like that, and I think it's time to – oh, here we go. The only thing Correa struggles with is passing physicals.
Good enough for the Twins.
Good enough for the Twins. Not for the Giants, not for the Mets, but good enough for the Twins. At least that's good. Very well done, Seymour. I like that one. All right, let's Voldy, Zoners. Let's go to the Temple of Wisdom, and it's time for Voldy's Virtues.
He has emerged from the Temple of Wisdom. Gather round for Voldy's Virtues.
All right, we are in the Temple of Wisdom. Voldy, please enlighten us.
So talking about, of course, the last week plus, we've seen all the highlights. We are officially in parade season, if you will. Championships abound here in the last week. The Denver Nuggets and the Vegas Golden Knights adding their names most recently to some of the legends, of course, prestigious championships. First titles in franchise histories for both squads as well. And well, the championship parades and the festivities that followed along with it did not disappoint whatsoever. Of course, Jokic, immediately after winning the championship, the press conference finding out that he's going to stay a couple more days in the U.S. before going home. And he wasn't very happy about that. But once the parade came rolling around a couple days later, of course, making the announcement at the championship, at the culmination of the parade, man, he just wants to parade again and do it forever. Nikola Jokic, of course, ended up back home in Serbia as well, where he received a nice warm of applause from his native folk. And of course, on the other side, who wouldn't want to be part of a championship celebration, a parade, and all the fun in Vegas, especially a bunch of hockey guys as well after a long season. Well, one player, one of the original six misfits, if you will, Wild Bill Karlsson himself, adding himself to a long line of prestigious drunken speeches at a championship. And that just so happened to be Wild Bill Karlsson talking about since day one, and profanities laced as well, to the point where one of the ladies from, I believe, either communications or the PR department said, Nope, we got to go. We got to wrap it up. Nope, Bill, we got to wrap things up. We got to keep going. And all this almost ending him getting pulled off stage in a daze, in a stupor, if you will, and also, of course, shirtless as well, because it's Vegas and it's hot. But these moments certainly do stack up among some of the most memorable championship parade moments as well. And you know what? I would like to hear from our zoners as well. When it comes to the championship parade moments, what really comes to mind? It could be during the parade, all those fun and festivities, even the speeches that take place at the end of the parades as well. What really comes to mind? Join us in the chat and let us know what really comes to mind. Some of them, kind of came spur of the moment. I had to think a little bit. Others just kind of came naturally. One that comes to mind, we all saw in the Last Dance documentary, or for those that do fondly remember, in 1997, Steve Kerr telling the story of how, Mike wasn't comfortable in the situation, Mike being Michael Jordan, taking the final shot to ultimately claim the championship for the Chicago Bulls in 97, saying that's like, all right, well, I guess I got to bail out Mike again. That speech, that one certainly came to mind. Of course, the legendary boat parade that was for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2021, winning the Super Bowl, and the toss between two boats of the Lombardi Trophy from Tom Brady to, I believe it was Gronk in the other boat. That certainly brought some news and some headlines as well, and a little bit of excitement for a lot of people. But I really want to know, Matt, what's maybe one or a couple, if you will, that really come to mind for you when it comes to some of these championship moments too?
That's a great question. And, I would say anything Minnesota, but wait, I wasn't alive for 87 World Series and or 91 World Series. But, there's a couple that come to mind, but, you already have them listed, which, again, I would agree with a lot. Like the Brady one's kind of the funny one, throwing the trophy and everything like that. And it's like, I mean, you want these guys to celebrate, have fun, and, do that kind of thing. Also, I would say probably the Eagles winning their first Super Bowl, Jason Kelce, obviously, with his speech. I think that was iconic, too. The way he put that together. Another one, I think it was I think it was this past year with Mahomes, I think he was chugging a Bud Light or something like that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then, another one that I just thought of too. Remember when Matt Stafford and his wife were like on the stage or whatever, and he didn't see this, like, I don't know if it was like a communications person or someone working with the Rams or something, but he like bumped her and she fell off the stage.
That's right. I forgot about that. Oh my gosh, that's right. Yes.
I don't know if the zoners remember that or that was, and then he didn't do anything. He just stood there and he just kind of although he looked and then he like looked back and then his wife really didn't do anything either. So I'm like,
oh my god,
are you gonna help her? I mean, you just bumped her off the stage, So that one was interesting. Mahomes and the chugging the beer thing was kind of fun.
And I forget which parade it was. It was a couple of years ago. It was either the Atlanta Braves or it was the Rams, where the championship buses were just zooming through downtown at like 55 miles an hour. I'm like, you're going to get some people killed by some stoplights here if they don't duck or whatever. I want to say it was Atlanta, but I can't really remember. But a lot of the other ones going back a couple of years, I'm glad you brought up the underdog speech from Jason Kelsey and his whole get-up, because I'm sure if they would have won this year, I'm sure he would have had a whole nother great little celebration and another great speech lined up for that too. But other ones that do come to mind, great championship celebration moments do include, of course, like Gronk holding one of the Lombardi trophies at Fenway Park and actually bunting as someone, I think it was Julian Edelman who was throwing and actually denting the trophy, which is still dented to this day. But that's just Gronk being Gronk in that one. Yeah. Going back 2001, Mark Mad Dog Madsen, the Mad Dog of Timberwolves legend, of course, him just soaking up every single moment of that parade. Yeah, absolutely. Just another T-Wolves legend. And of course, who could ever forget? I know certainly I will never forget the summer of Ovi. The Washington Capitals winning the Stanley Cup in Vegas, and not just the parade, but a whole summer, 3 solid months of just Ovechkin celebrating, him and a few other guys jumping in the fountain outside of the Nationals game and getting just soaked tail to toe, and it was just fantastic. And even bonus points as well to World Minnesota and hockey legend, that being TJ Oshie, for the beer chug, which he pulled the jersey over his head and drank right through it. Dude's a legend in every sense as well. But all of these moments really come, of course, born through the fact you play a whole regular season. You go through the ups and downs of a whole season. You go through a grueling playoffs as well, and then also just really coming to the fact as well.
Hey! We got a special guest.
Yeah,
it's the Kaser
from Grammy and Fun
Hey, and with Voldy's virtues. There he is.
Say hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Hi. Yeah.
You gonna read a book to us during the show?
Love you, buddy.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Sad to go say hi to too. But of course, that being another moment you can celebrate with all your friends, your family, going through a long, arduous season, and now the guys can just completely let loose and unload, and especially with a few little helping let's just say a lot of booze and all the good times that follow as well. Just a lot of moments born out of this, and of course with Vegas and Denver adding themselves to this list, certainly a lot more great memories to be had as well with those teams, especially after the grueling playoffs that they went through. Now they can, unwind for a little bit before getting ready for another season too. So really, parade season is always about, let's see which guy's going to make a complete fool of themselves, and we can talk more about with other parades still to come as well.
Yeah, like you said, a long, grueling season. I mean, they should be, happy to, do things like that. Let loose, like you said. So I think that's perfect. Seymour added a couple things. Most places call that a championship parade for Vegas. Vegas calls that a Sunday. So
yeah, this is true.
It's he's got a good point there.
Yeah.
And then when the Lakers won, I remember Shaq rapping and saying they were going to win it again, which doesn't surprise me with Shaq because Shaq. And then he mentions the Mark Madsen thing, and who could forget Mark Madsen busting some moves. Wolves legend. I would add, but going from there. But honestly, the one thing I'm just going to add to end this, if a major sports team of the Minnesota sports or anything like that,
Yep.
I feel like the whole city is going to implode. Like, I mean, in celebration, not actually like implode as in blow up or anything, but like, I mean, in celebration, it'll be fantastic. So
Oh yeah, totally.
there's going to be
for
more
sure.
memories, I feel like, with that, but I don't know if who knows if that'll ever happen. We don't know.
Who knows?
We don't know. So keep that in mind too. It'll happen. We got to stay positive. So. All right, great job with Voldy's Virtues this week, and our
Thank you,
special
sir.
guest, Case Vold, as well, chiming in with the Virtues as well. So, ARA, we've got a lot to talk about. We got something involving our guy, dalvincook. EA Sports, we'll wait for that one because I feel like you guys will enjoy that. Big deal with CP3. Bradleybeal, Draymond on the market. I don't know. And then the Hornets at number 2. What are they going to do? Who knows? We don't know. So, without further ado, let's just get it going. What's up? Absurd or approved?
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, as always, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, we start in the NFL here where more free agent signings are still yet to be had. And one name, of course, that we're talking about is dalvincook, of course, with fresh off his release from the Vikings. He's still on the market and looking for somewhere of near $10 million a season as well, with a possibly new team as well. Still Pro Bowl running back, and another list of course, running backs still on the market, including Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard as well. But really, Dalvin is not making it a big point to sign right away. I know that him and maybe even DeAndre Hopkins are been rumored, linked to maybe sign somewhere together. Rumors have been somewhere with the Jets. That's been something that could make a few possibilities too, kind of build up a super team as well and try to go all in on the upcoming season. But that certainly is something that he's kind of been rumored saying, like, hey, I'm just going to kind of wait back, see where DeAndre ends up first. Maybe I might go there. He's also thrown out some ideas of like, hey, if it's him that goes somewhere, we're kind of a package deal. But is it absurd or approved? Is it a smart move by Dalvin to wait things out until DeAndre Hopkins gets signed somewhere?
Well, I almost feel like he's doing it, he's waiting, well, A, for the right team, but B, if they're going to get, how much money they'll get, because they are still in their prime, both those guys. But Seymour makes a good point here. Cook waiting for one team that has championship aspirations and has their star running back go down for the season, leverage for money talk. So that's exactly what I was thinking as well with this situation. A couple interesting things too that I'll add to this, because the reason for the departure with the Vikings too, which I feel like is interesting, is it had to be a good scheme fit, but the way that O'Connell wants to run the offense, it wasn't a good scheme fit for dalvincook, and he addressed that with Adam Schefter on his podcast, I believe. So there's a lot factored in with that, but I also think that it's smart for Dalvin to see, where the market is, come even training camp. I almost feel like if he waits till training camp and then there's an injury or something, then teams start to get interested. They want to pay more money. He's doing the right thing. He's being smart about it, and I like that he is doing that. But just don't go to the Jets, please. You and DeAndre, just stay away. Just stay away from the Jets. You don't need to go there. You don't want to have Frogers with you. Why would you want to be with Frogers? You don't want to be with Frogers. Come on.
You're better than that.
You're better than that. And, that's my pitch for not having him go to the Jets. But the one thing is, and, I'm still going to say this, I feel like Buffalo could be a very likely destination for Dalvin. And if it's with DeAndre, I don't know because, well, you have an upset receiver right now in Stephon Diggs, which, you don't want to bring in another wide receiver and, go from there. But I also think that there's opportunities elsewhere, like Miami, if they decide, you know what, we're gonna try and make this happen and go from there. But I almost feel like if he decides to go to Miami, I feel like it'll be a crowded backfield, and I also know too that their defense struggled too. Miami's defense struggled. If they want championship aspiration, they have the offense. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep.
But defensively, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, they added Jalen Ramsey, but after that, there's really not a whole lot of guys that you're afraid of after that. So, his brother is in Buffalo, exactly, Seymour. And, I feel like that's another, that's the destination that I think that will keep, Stephon Diggs with. So, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. Where Hopkins signs, I'm not sure. I think that's up in the air. It could be anyone at this point. I believe didn't he go on a visit to Tennessee and New England or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, so, it could be one of those two teams. So, hey, you could be getting DeAndre Hopkins with the Patriots there, Voldy. So, stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you got?
I just find it interesting. Of course, yes, he's only 27 years old, right. But the way the Vikings and obviously others are making it sound like, he's like 35 years old too, but a lot of miles on 27 there, especially with, of course, the shoulder and the knee issues that he's had with injuries as of late. But, he's still going to be a very productive running back. The fact that he's waiting things out, and some players, of course, with the likes of Josh Jacobs, even Saquon too, they've even mentioned as well, it's like, yeah, I'll skip some games if I have to in order to get a long-term and more financial secure deal for me too. But, with Dalvin, I feel like it could be a factor of, and he's even said it too, that it could be a factor where DeAndre goes, he might end up going or somewhere, try to see if they could be a good fit together. I think, is it a smart move? Because, honestly, it's got to be a good fit for him offensively, too. Just because one guy's going to benefit from it doesn't mean that he's going to benefit from it, too. It will be very interesting to see how it all shakes out, too. But I really think for him, it's going to be about what's going to be a good location for him. And, I don't see why that Miami wouldn't be a good fit for him, too. He could be a very solid 1A, 1B running back for them, too. I know that they could use a little bit more experience in that backfield. Tua's going to need as much help as he can out of the backfield, too. Get the ball out, get the ball into somebody's hands quickly, too, because I know that they're going to be leaned on, I would certainly think, with their running backs, too, because they did lose one of their main threats receiving-wise in Matt Gesicki. He's now in New England, too. Wide receiver-wise, of course, they still have Tyreek. We don't know what's going on with him with his recent altercations and off-the-field issues, too. Do have Jalen Waddle as well, but, a little bit more help of a guy who can also catch the ball out of the backfield and Dalvin Cook. That's going to be a big benefit for Mike McDaniel and the offense for Tua and the Dolphins. So I see that as a good possibility, but how long is too long? And, how long are we going to have to wait till we see something out of Dalvin? Is it a smart move? It's not going to say it's not going to be a dumb move, but I can't really give my stamp of approval on this one.
Oh, interesting. Come to Tennessee, Nuke, says Seymour. Yeah, I think there's a lot going on with Tennessee. Obviously, when they traded, Brown and whatnot, they could use another big wide receiver, and I feel like Nuke could be a fit, and also with the Patriots as well. So we will see where they end up. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we've all been wanting it, and we're hopefully going to get it sometime soon. It's the college football game with EA Sports that's going to hopefully be making a comeback. But one of the things that still has to be said and negotiated and talked about is NIL deals, names, image, and likenesses, which also brought up the fact that we could potentially see the return of the game. So EA Sports college football video game is still in the process of it being fully licensed and being out. But one thing is the go-between the athletes and the game, the schools and the athletes and the game itself. It's this group in the middle. It's the Brander Group, which has negotiated the group licensing deals for over 50 Division I schools. They're actually suing EA Sports over name, image, and likeness deals being offered to athletes for the upcoming game. So basically, the athletes are jumping over the middleman and negotiating directly with EA Sports, as opposed to the athletes going to Brander to get them on the video game. And some players are even thinking about, individuals as well, thinking about even opting out of the video game to begin with as well. So that way they can't use their name, image, or likeness in the video game itself. So it's very interesting how this is all shaking down in the wake of the name, image, and likeness deals that have come out in recent years. People barking for the college football game to be released once again. And, well, this is what you get, opening up one whole can of worms. But talking about this deal and also the ability as well for certain athletes to negotiate deals, is it absurd or approved? With the EA Sports game, college football video game set to be coming out, should athletes be able to negotiate deals on the game itself, or should they just be able to, or should they just basically keep their mouth shut and just let things happen as they play?
Well, I pretty much caught all of that, but I just saw that Rocco Baldelli just got tossed out of the game.
Attaboy, Rocco.
Well, he actually showed some emotion and actually got on the umpire. Wow, good for him.
What happened now?
And then there's something else going on. Did he throw someone else out now?
Probably.
Oh, did he throw out Gallo? Oh my gosh, man!
Joey.
We're just throwing out guys left and right here.
He just threw out the hot dog vendor.
Yeah, they'll throw out the.
He just threw himself out of the game.
Before I answer your question, I just want to say, Voldy, I feel like this needs to be said with this lower third. EA Sports, it's getting sued. So
yeah, it is.
That was well done on the lower third.
Hey.
Yeah, I feel like they can negotiate their deals now. The fact that they, I feel like, if they want to be on the game, you got to go through the obstacles to get to that point in order to be in the game, because it has to. And Seymour brings up a good point. It's tough because the game has to get the rights to put the school's brands and trademarks on the game. So there's a lot going on with that, and like it was before, they want the names, they want the trademarks, they want, everything on there. But the thing is, now that they're being sued, hopefully they can get it settled and they're able to figure out a deal, because fans have been waiting a long time for this. And I feel like it's going to get done. But the thing is obviously, you got to go through the right procedure in order to get what you want, and they'll get their deals and everything like that. But EA Sports being sued is definitely not a good sign, but I feel like this is going to happen. But yeah, I think they should, negotiate their deals to be on the game. And I know the NIL thing and, everything like that, like, get your money type of thing. But I feel like they need to work together with the schools and everything like that to make sure, hey, we get this the right way and everything like that, and everyone's happy and whatnot. So I feel like there's a lot of hoops to jump through with this, but I think it's going to get done. And should they negotiate deals to be on the game? Sure, I don't really have a huge problem with it, but apparently the in-between people do. So, which it is what it is. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I think really the big issue here is that the Brander Group is just trying to get their fee out of the schools and the athletes, as opposed to them, the schools and the athletes, going over their head and working with EA Sports directly as well. They want to be the middleman because that way they know they're going to get their money out of the schools and athletes and out of EA Sports. So they're going to get twice as much as opposed to only half as much or even nothing at all to begin with. So that's why this lawsuit has came to be. I mean, even as it currently stands, EA Sports says that the video game is set to come out in 2024, so college football 2025 or whatever it's going to be called. It's been since 2013 since the last college football game came out as well, and I have very vivid memories of David Evian and Jacob Tews, my brother-in-law, and Evie as well, playing the video game in their living room at college and watching them just duke it out over a couple of games, even though, I mean, it was just good times with that group right there. But watching them do that, and it's been that long since that game's come out. But really, should they be able to negotiate? I mean, we're in this world now where a lot of these questions that when the NIL first came out, that never were even thought about or a possible situation. So this is just another thing that continues to be a problem as well. And do I see them, this hurting the game? No. I mean, it's still saying it's going to come out in 2024. Is it going to, is it something that they should negotiate? Absolutely. I mean, it's their name, it's their image, it's their likeness. Yes, obviously the schools with their brands and, trademarks as well for all that, that's something that can be handled through the school. But if you want, it can be handled on their part. But if it's going to be an individual player, their face, their image, their likeness, their tattoos, their body build, all that stuff as well, that's on them. Just so happens to be if they're wearing an Oklahoma jersey or an Oklahoma helmet or whatever, that's got to be dealt with at the school level. Otherwise, they opt out. They're not included. They miss out on the profits of that game, which will be very lucrative for a lot of people that do decide to opt in. Should they be able to negotiate their rights? Absolutely. It's their body. It's their choice. And I think it's got my stamp of approval.
Seymour says if they get this game done, 30 to 40-year-old dads are going to be buying PS4s real fast. And I couldn't agree more with that, because I probably will get it, because I do have fond memories of playing that game in college as well, in my dorm room, over in Oceans and whatnot. And you mentioned Evie, and, those... Those games were fun. I mean, they really were. You could, build a franchise. You can do Road to Glories, which was awesome as well. Yeah. There's a whole slew of cool things that you can do. You can make the Gophers the #1 team in the nation. I mean, you can. It's just, I just wish it was like that in real life. But it is what it is. So it is. We'll go from there. So, yeah, it's going to get done. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we go back to the NBA, and we're starting off with the big trade that happened over the last few days, and that did include the Phoenix Suns that, were set to have a promising playoff run, but did get upended. And you know what? They've been a team the last couple seasons that are just looking for that next piece. And, lo and behold, that the Phoenix Suns decided to make out a trade to bring Bradley Beal from Washington, D.C., and he will be paired with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker this season at the expense of Chris Paul. So that means that Chris Paul is now going to be heading to another team once again, this time in the Washington, D.C. area, which does bring up a few things. So this next grouping as well with Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, very interesting that I thought Bradley Beal was a hot trade piece to begin with, or at least garnered some interest from a team that, had some really good playoff runs the last few seasons, and now brings up a big thing too, with that being the move that's made with Bradley Beal now in the pairing, in the trio, if you will, with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Is this a deal, the missing piece that the Suns need to run in the West? Is that absurd or approved?
That's a great question. Before we get into that, Shield, remember the 2-day vacation we had in Minot for SMSU baseball? Seymour asked.
I do.
I did. So I guess I'll leave it at that. Not a lot of detail, but
best and worst bus ride. I will say second worst bus ride in SMSU baseball in my 4 years there, because there was one that was a lot worse.
Gotcha.
A lot worse.
We'll talk off air with that one. One thing that won't be a problem for the Suns, getting buckets. That's for sure. You have a bunch of pure shooters on that team now. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, obviously, now Bradley Beal, who has had some injury issues, and not to say that Durant hasn't had his fair share either. I feel like that's the only knock that I would have with this Phoenix Suns team.
Yep.
Now, obviously, Monty Williams is out as head coach, which is interesting to me. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense, especially that he's led them to, the playoffs each year. But I will say that's definitely, they need another star or guy that's willing to hit, shots. I mean, he doesn't have to be the guy, and obviously Bradley Beal is not the guy on this team, but they need an outside shooter. They need a guy that's going to hit buckets when it counts. And yeah, you have Durant, you have Booker, but you add Beal to that, and they're going to get a lot of points. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I feel like them dealing CP3, did it have to happen? Yeah, maybe, but at the same time, it is a business, and he wasn't surprised. He was on Good Morning America or something like that, and kind of said, it's a business, it is what it is. But it doesn't seem like he will be staying with the Wizards. I think he is going to find either LA teams, the LA Clippers, going back to the LA Clippers, and maybe even going to the LA Lakers.
We're all good,
even though he
go to die,
right? And he almost did go there way back when with being with Kobe. But I would say I'm going to say yes, and the reason why I do say yes to this is because you have a solid lineup now. You have Booker, you have Durant, you have Beal, you have DeAndre Ayton. Don't forget him. And they have that, but I feel like they need a good bench guy off the bench in order to for them to work as a team. So I'm going to say stamp of approval. I feel like he is a missing piece, but I worry about the injuries. That's why I lightly stamp it here, because there are some question marks there, I will say. But it looks pretty good, and that's a deal they definitely needed to make. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is really more, you need that veteran presence a little bit more. Yes, they do have Kevin Durant, but Kevin Durant still thinks he's a 24-year-old MVP type caliber player as well. When fully healthy, absolutely, he's an MVP caliber type player, but he's not 24 anymore. He's on, I don't want to say he's on the backside of his career, but he ain't on the ascend, if you will, currently as well. But it really comes down to, obviously, a lot more, you have that veteran experience, but even with the fully healthy part too, a guy that can still get you buckets out there, like Seymour has been saying as well. Same, right along the same type caliber you do have with Devin Booker. Guy gets hurt, guy goes down, foul trouble, whatever. Bradley Beal can slide on in. He did pretty well over there with the Wizards, which were not exactly a great team overall to begin with, but some pieces there that were very enticing. And at the end of the day, I really feel bad for CP3 because, start of his career, I mean, he was, he's an all-star. He's a guy you could build your franchise around. Now his resume is just more and more muddy with each team that he goes to. And it's like, I don't even know if I want to put this guy in the Hall of Fame, let alone, be a guy that I want to build my team around. I hate to say it, but it's just like, what now? He's like on his 7th team or something in the last 10 years or something like that. I don't know how long he's been in the league, but it's been at least 10 plus years. I think maybe 14, 15, I think, or something like that. But he's been on a lot of different teams in his time, especially in the most recent years. It's like every couple of years, CP's getting traded somewhere else, and it's always talking about how it just didn't work with him and so this other rising star in the league too. But I really think this could be a big benefit. But obviously, you still have a lot of pieces to go around too, especially with Denver now on the up and up. You've got the Warriors as well. More to come on that here in the next story as well. But of course, what are things going to look like with the Lakers? And of course, Portland, certainly an interesting team because of the fact that Dame's still going to go out there and get buckets. And overall, you've got about 6-7 teams in the West that could certainly make things interesting. And now I think it's up to, of course, Phoenix to make that next step. This certainly pushes them in the right direction. So I think this has got my stamp of approval on it.
Okay. I was going through his teams. New Orleans, LA Clippers, OKC, and then the Suns, right? And then the Rockets. Yeah, Rockets. Yep. Almost forgot that. But I feel like that whole Rockets I think Harden pushed him out of there for some reason, which
Harden pushed everybody, no matter where he's at.
I mean, I mean, I really do like CP. I think he is a Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
I can see it.
It's like, oh, he doesn't have a ring. It's like a lot of guys who are in the Hall don't have a ring. And, they were very good for their team. So, Yeah, don't forget. Thank you. I almost forgot that. No, I can't. I think he went to the Thunder after that, or that was before. I have to look it up. But
one of the two.
He almost went to the Lakers, and don't forget that one, which would have been interesting pairing with Kobe at the time. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we kind of briefly mentioned it for the moment. Of course, the run that the Golden State Warriors have had with their trio of Steph and Clay and Draymond Green could very well be starting to dismantle right in front of our very eyes, as Draymond Green has spent his entire career with the Golden State Warriors. But now for the very first time, he actually has opted to see what free agency is going to look like, declining his nearly $30 million player option for the upcoming season, and he's going to take a look at what free agency has to hold for him, but he did not rule out a return to Golden State, so he's just going to go out there and see what's going on there with the all free agency market. Of course, Draymond Green, defensive guy, team that a player that you love to have on your team, you hate to play against because he's going to talk your ear off and he's going to find a way to get fouled out of game with more technicals, and he's also going to try to make your team a lot better from the inside if he's not beating them up in practice to begin with as well. Shout out to Jordan Poole. But looking at it, is this quite possibly absurd or approved with Draymond looking at free agency? Could we possibly see Draymond Green pull the old James Harden and begin to the breakup of the supposed dynasty for the Golden State Warriors?
I like Seymour's coming with zingers today. I love it. Draymond will give any teams a puncher's chance in free agency. So we got that going for us right there.
Yeah, boy, see money.
I have like a love-hate relationship with Draymond Green.
Exactly.
There's things that I do like about him. I feel like, he is a leader. He can really bring a team together and everything like that. And he's done that with this team. And there's a reason why they've won all those championships. But the reason why I dislike is because there are times where he can't, get out of his own way sometimes. And he's not able to, know when to shut his mouth and not do stupid stuff like kick people in the groin. For one, that he's done, and then also punch his teammates in the face. Like, come on.
True.
This is ridiculous. So, I think it was said on multiple platforms, the socials medias, and on TV, on cable. I think Stephen A. Smith said, like, he'd give him, like, this big contract. He's worth $100 million, all that stuff.
Right.
If you're the Warriors, I mean, you might have to consider that, because he is the way that he has been able to kind of be that floor general, even when he's really not a three-point shooter or anything like that. Like, he'll get in and do the dirty work, right? He'll go in there and, get rebounds. He'll, block shots. He'll make shots sometimes. And, the way that he's been able to progress with this team has been almost nothing short of incredible. And so, Golden State really does want him back. It has been interesting to kind of see how they're like, well, he declined the option, and obviously we want to give him that. But the thing is it's all got to work out. So I say it's absurd. I think he is going to go back to Golden State. When you have a guy like Steph Curry, you have Klay Thompson with you. Obviously, if you're talking analytics, or if you're talking, for stats and everything like that, you'd think Steph, Klay, and then Draymond. But really, in leadership, it's Steph, Draymond, and then Klay, right? So I'd say, I think it's absurd. I think he's going to stay with Golden State. But I don't blame him for testing the market here, Voldy and Zoners. So, I think it's absurd. I think he's going to stay with the Warriors. So, Voldy, what do you got?
If there was going to be one of the three that was going to, for lack of a better term, mess it all up for everybody else, it was going to be Draymond Green. He has that personality, like you had said, like you just don't know if you love him or you hate him, or you do both. You love him and you hate him because he does things that you think is great, and you do other things as well that it's just like, why are you a human being in the first place? And this is another one of those situations. Like, what are you thinking here? What are we thinking? What are we doing right now? And this could be, he is 33 years old. He's a forward that does have some offensive limitations. But if he's just a guy that's like, you know what, let me see if I can go win a ring on my own without Steph, without Clay, without, Jordan Poole and the squad as well. I mean, it certainly could be like even this article that we're referencing and looking at too, could be one that like Portland. I mean, we've been talking about them quite honestly here the last few weeks and the last couple months, talking about if they do go out and trade for Cat, then they signed Draymond as well or something like that. There could be a very serious win now and win in the next couple of years situation for them. Or you would think, with everything that's gone on, even the last couple of years too, with Draymond and obviously this group that they do have in Golden State, that there's not a lot of years left, and maybe they could make one or two more runs at a title too, especially with them now into this soon to be their mid-30s as well. In NBA years, they're like 75 or nearing that part where they're going through their midlife crisis too. It's certainly something that we'll have to keep our eye on as this unfolds, but is it absurd that, Draymond could mess things up and, dismantle and begin the breakup? Absolutely not. I don't think it's absurd, but will we see it happen? I'm going to say no. I think it's absurd. I just think that Draymond is, you would think he's a guy that would go to the team that would stick with the team that he wants. He just wants to see what's happening. But would it surprise me? Is like, no, I want my money and I want to do my own thing. No, it wouldn't surprise me at all, because at the end of the day, Draymond's going to do what Draymond wants. So,
if he does move on, I don't see that core team winning again. I mean, you have Steph Curry and everything like that, but I mean that could change. I don't know. That you have to have that type of guy.
Right.
That alpha. I would like to say there.
Yep.
So we'll see. I think he's staying. I can't see him leaving at this point. All right, last one, Voldy.
Well, we're talking about, of course, we started off the show talking about the potentiality of the Timberwolves moving up with the NBA draft set to come here very, very soon. Now we're talking about as well with the possibility of who's going to go number 2? We already know that the number 1 consensus overall pick is going to be Victor Wembanyama, and of course it is the San Antonio Spurs that do have that number 1 pick. But we're talking about what's happening at number 2. That belongs to the Charlotte Hornets, now the soon-to-be Michael Jordan owner-less Charlotte Hornets as well. So there's a lot of turnover in that regard too. But there is an interesting situation. What do we do at number 2? Charlotte's looking at 2 guys at number 2. Scoot Henderson out of the G League, and then also Alabama forward Brandon Miller. Now, that was the guy that was involved in a shooting, gave a guy a gun to kill somebody.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that was the guy. Do not quote me. College basketball, it's all convoluted, one and done. Don't really like it, don't really care, except for the national championship. But you got Scoot Henderson also, who's been in the G League as well. Both those players were at a private workout in Charlotte on Monday as well. So the Hornets getting a feel for what guy that they want. So it really comes down to what happens at number 2. In our opinion, who do you think the Charlotte should take with the number 2 pick coming up in the draft?
Well, I really like Scoot Henderson. I feel like when you're averaging 30 points a game, especially doing that is something that I think all teams are looking at like, ooh, I kind of want that on my team. Brandon Miller assisted a shooter, says Seymour.
There we go.
And
I was in the area.
There you go.
Right, I was right there.
Right. And before that, he said Draymond is like J.G. Wentworth. It's my money, and I need it now. He's just on point today. Well done.
I love it. See money. Love it.
So, yeah, I would look at that. You know what's even more interesting, Voldy, is that, Michael Jordan selling the team, right?
Yep.
And I believe a part owner in that is one J. Cole, rapper J. Cole,
yep,
too, which is interesting in itself. And now that, they'll have new ownership coming in and all that stuff, that'll be interesting. But let me add something to this. I feel like it is Scoot Henderson for them, bringing him in. Obviously, Brandon Miller has been fantastic for the Roll Tide, the Crimson Tide. But I feel like he's one of the top, top guys in this draft. And obviously, if he falls, if the Wolves want to move up, and if they do so, then I feel like they would take Henderson. They pair him with Ant, and I think it would work out well. So, yeah, I don't know. My guess is they go Scoot Henderson. The reason why they don't go Brandon Miller is I don't think because of what's happened, what happened in the past. But I also think too that this guy is going to be, a star in this league too. So, I mean, I just feel like Henderson's a better fit for the Hornets at this point. But Brandon Miller, I did see that, was asked by a reporter who the GOAT was. He answered Paul George. I did see that. That was comical. I don't know why he was thinking that, but it is what it is. So, yep, I would go Scoot. So, Voldy, what do you got?
I mean, well, just based on that comment alone, I'm definitely not going to pick him over that and call the character into question overall. You would certainly feel like you go with a guy that is going to be ready right off the bat, and especially playing in the G League with Scoot Henderson, that is going to probably bear a little bit more weight, basically, other than a guy that's been playing college last, we'll say a year. I don't know if he's a one-and-done guy with Brendan Miller as well. But I would certainly look at, what has the player done the last couple of seasons, especially playing in the G League? Just, I don't want to say a level below the NBA because there is no level that is comparable to the NBA level too, but certainly something that could lead to more preparation for him right off the bat. And that's why I got to lean a little bit more towards Scoot Henderson. I'm not a big basketball mind, don't claim to be, don't ever will. Will never claim to be a big NBA mind in that regard. But if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably go Scoot Henderson just based off the fact that he has been in the G League and, playing at that professional level is certainly different than playing in the college ranks.
And Seymour brings up another good point. They already have Miles Bridges dealing with the shooting incident. Here's my question. What is it with guns and everything now with the NBA? You have Ja Morant flashing a gun. You have Miles Bridges with the shooting incident. Good Lord. What is going on here? So the Hornets are taking the pass, sadly, into their decision with Miller. So
go home, take care of your kids. That's all I got to say.
That's a perfect way to say it. And it's a perfect way to end ARA for this week. Great job, as always, Voldy.
Thank you, sir.
Can a backcourt of Scoot Henderson and LaMelo Ball work? It could. I think it could, but the thing is I think LaMelo's star is starting to fade a little bit. They had some injuries and whatnot, which, I don't know. Haven't heard from LeVar in a long time, too. So
because he's dealing with the fact that Lonzo is probably never going to play again because the shoes that he had when he first started were crap. Big baller brand.
Ooh, big shots fired at the balls, and like we said, they've started to fade a little bit here. So
did it to themselves.
Yeah. Shield shoutouts. We got some really cool Shield shoutouts this week. One involving a lot of SMSU connections here.
Yes, sir.
A lot of SMSU baseball connections, I will say, too. Mm-hmm. So let's get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, it is time for some Shield shoutouts. So, Shield, who ya shouting out tonight?
Well, I do want to say a happy belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there that certainly do enjoy our products. And, of course, we enjoy their products as well with them being such great dads all around. And one belated happy Father's Day, of course, and then also big thank you to creative consultant Mrs. Sarah Antus-Vold for this drinking receptacle, stainless steel. Of course, I had to appropriately add a MinneZona Sports Live sticker to it as well to make it fit well for the brand here as well. So big thank you to the missus for that as well. Do have to send out a congratulations to Coach Joel Bonnet, Coach Bo, and the Vancouver Canadians, of course, with the Toronto Blue Jays organization. They clinched the first half Northwest League title and assured themselves a playoff spot coming in September as well. And of course, that pitching staff for the likes of Vancouver has been pretty good this season. They got this one guy, Harrison Devereaux, I believe his name is. He has been a stud at the high A level. They threw a combined no-hitter a couple weeks ago as well, so that pitching staff under Coach Bo has been pretty good here this season.
Yeah.
Am I surprised? Not entirely. So big shout out to the friend of the program as well and Coach Bo there. And also a friend of the program and a guy we need to get on the show now. That belongs to Jeremy Ish. That is a former GA, now head coach for SMSU baseball. Yes, taking over the reins for now retired Coach Paul Blanchard. Coach Ish, who was a GA my first 2 years with the team as well, now going to be serving as head coach for the Mustangs as well. He was head coach at Upper Iowa for a number of years, of course, and he coached at Luther baseball for a couple years too. Now head guy at, of course, our alma mater, and that being, of course, the Southwest Minnesota State University. Hope to catch a few games here the upcoming spring, and hopefully we can get him on the show too and kind of hash out a few things, and we can certainly get a full liking and a full update, just how life is going with him, and now back where, well, I don't want to say where it all started, but certainly got the ground going for him as well. So a big shout out to Coach Ish, now head coach at SMSU. That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
I love it. A lot of SMSU connections this week.
Yes.
Obviously, Coach Bo. Congratulations to the Canadians. I mean, that's just fantastic. And that's funny. Their pitching staff is doing well.
Shocking.
Make the call. Make the call, Twins. Make the call. We know this guy. He's very good. And, did we have Coach Ish on the show? Sports Zone days? Oh, I thought we
sports.
did.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Wait, I can't remember. I don't.
We'll have
we'll have to look back in the archives. It's been a few years.
Yes, we will. Yeah.
So I know
We'll
we
have to
had
go back.
T-Pain, we had Coach Bo. I can't remember if we.
Reentz. We
had Pat Reentz. We had our boy Josh Hansen.
Yes, Josh Hansen.
We had Cheese, Michael Marchese, Eric Thorvaldson, Brian Rademski. We had those guys on there before.
Okay.
Man, it is.
Okay.
Man, that's.
So
we gotta look back. We gotta look back.
We'll look back. Yeah, we'll take a look. But great job with Shield Shoutouts this week, and the drinking mug looks fantastic, and MinneZona stamp of approval. You know where you can get those kind of stickers and everything?
Where's
like
that?
Like Voldy just showed, we have them restocked, like we said at the beginning of the show. And we've added another thing to that, and that is Shield Shoutout stickers. So make sure you check those out. You know the deal. $2 for the small ones, $3 for the big ones. We'll get them to you because we've got plenty of them now, and we'll be doing some giveaways and things like that.
Still got the big bumper stickers too, folks.
Put them on your car. Put them on your car. Put it in your office. You want to support the brand, please do so with that.
Support the team.
And also, we have a little bit of an update regarding the limited edition T-shirt. The the extra large T-shirt. We still have it.
We do.
Our zoner, I believe, Jared, right?
Yep, Jared. He
got the regular shirt.
Yep.
And we have the limited edition shirt still available. You know the deal. $20, $5 shipping for that bad boy. But we do have the regular shirts as well. $20, $5 shippings for those guys as well. And then I think we're getting new hats here soon, guys. They might be coming in, but we'll
see.
We won't reveal yet, but just keep your eye out. I'll just say that. So make sure, and thank you to National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers as per usual. And then make sure you check out W2 Performance, Will Rattel at www.w2performance.com. He's updating everything. I mean, that's his life. He's dunking on people. He's lifting weights. I mean, we got to get him on here.
Must be nice.
We got to get this done because I need an update from our guy, Will Rattel. And then make sure you check out the Victorious P.O.D. with Tyler Hermann and Jack Vickers. They're doing great stuff, as always, on their their account, and it's starting to get to fantasy football time, Shield. So we better get looking at those draft boards, and then make sure you check out TLS Performance. Troy Stoudemire, our guy. We've got the nameplate. We need you to sign. I think we can make that happen. So
got it right here.
There we go. Fire. We got you covered. So make sure you check that out. Check out all the stuff on TLS Performance. He keeps stuff up to date on there. So make sure you check it out on the socials medias, preferably, I believe, Instagram. So make sure you check out Popcorn Bucket List. Nick Dahlhoff, Ryne, Ryne Myhrberg, Omni Entertainment. Make sure you guys check them out on YouTube. They have weekly episodes that come out as well. And there should be an episode coming out with yours truly here very, very soon. So with that being said, that's going to do it for episode 153. And like we said, we've got things coming up here. Obviously, we're kind of in that lull time with sports, but we'll still have some more content and stuff coming out to you guys very, very soon. So with that being said, as always, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla!
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.